On to the next. We spent some time on this. Georgia wins. Georgia gets painted blue. Trump is furious. Mm-hmm. Okay, he goes out to Washington, D.C. He makes a speech. He has a rally with his folks. Not upset at that. You believe what you believe. Go for it. They went out and he said, we won the election.
Listen,
you know what? There's something there's something about it that I kind of admire, where it's just like, you know, you lost, but you're just still
we won this thing.
I don't know about you, but I know me. I won, even when I lost. That's that persistence, I guess, that I think is funny. But you lost. You lost, and we know it now. So that Thursday, was it Thursday? Yeah, Thursday, Fly on the Head Pence says, yes. Flay says, hey, we officially lost. Okay, Joe Biden won the 90th time in a row.
Yeah.
Okay. And Trump says at that rally, we're gonna march down Capitol Hill.
You got it, man. Go ahead.
We're gonna march down and we're gonna show them, and whatever he says, fine.
Every single impression you do is
not what got off.
Is Tony Soprano.
I used to be way better at impressions, but now I'm not as good. That's okay. I'm not an actor anymore.
That's fine.
Yes, you are.
Well, that's true. I'd be auditioning.
Unless you're gonna hire me for it.
Yeah.
I'll be
if you
there.
try to pay, I owe SAG $114.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I do.
I got my SAG.
Yeah. So he says we're gonna march down Capitol Hill, and then they march, and then he goes to the White House. He was like, I'm gonna go with you.
I'll be right there.
And then he was like, yo, y'all got scones over there?
He said, I'll meet you, I promise. I'll be right there.
He's like picking
swim
out
home.
his favorite scone, and they were like, yo.
I gotta pick up my my Capitol Hill hat.
They were like, yo, Donald, yo, they storming the Capitol. And he was like, that's crazy. I just told him to walk down there. I told him to walk down there. And they were in the building.
Damn.
Nah, you wild. Y'all got any more scones? They were like, yo, you got to make a statement. He was like, all right, for sure. Pulled out his phone.
Yeah.
He was like, yep. Y'all gotta stop, yo.
Yo, stop playing.
Good
job, but stop playing.
Yeah, y'all gotta chill, yo.
I'm proud of y'all. Keep stopping.
Yo, come on, yo. If you don't stop,
never stop.
yo, I'm gonna have to step out there with the National Guard, and I'll be eating my scones. Like, don't make me put my scone down.
Yeah.
Come and talk to y'all. Stop. That's where Mike Pence chills.
This sounds like the Dave Chappelle.
He put out that tweet. He was like, "That's good."
Fixed it.
Yeah,
It's fine.
yeah.
It's like the guy who puts tape on a leaking pipe. I got it.
Yeah.
It's good.
We're good. Greatest since Abraham Lincoln.
That's a later me problem.
Yeah. Good. I love it. All right. And then so the barbarians
They went in there.
Hey, broke things. They found Nancy Pelosi's desk
Sat
thing.
up on the desk.
I was not related to that guy, by the way.
That was his name?
not related.
He was
What's his name?
He was like something Barnett. But
Barnett.
Oh, that's your brother.
He's from Alabama.
Bro. Come on,
I
man.
got no family from that region.
You don't know. Everybody in Alabama is related.
Serious.
I'm not from that state. I'm nowhere near that state.
Okay, you
So
migrated.
he's arrested now.
That guy got arrested.
I think about 70 people got arrested.
Who was the
70?
other person they said?
70.
Okay.
There was not an Alabama guy. It was an Arkansas guy, 70 years old. He had 12 Molotov cocktails, an assault rifle, and something else.
No, so it was a handgun.
It was just a pistol?
Two handguns that were... We're not allowed to carry a gun in D.C. in general.
Well, fair enough. Yeah.
So it's clear that this was like quietly planned,
right.
right?
Well, that's the thing is, I don't remember where I saw it. There was a picture of the dude who had like something January 6th, 2021, and then the news was like, I don't know if this was planned or not. I'm like, he's wearing a shirt that says "Storm the Capitol."
Hey,
what?
T-shirts in 30
January
minutes.
6th, 2021.
What?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Facebook groups were definitely planning this or whatever.
Oh, guaranteed.
Yeah, so there's definitely. Do you think Trump planned it too?
No, I don't think he
so.
has the capacity to put that thing together.
I think he probably does, but he would have slipped it out by accident. He would have been like, "Yo, we got this secret.
Y'all are gonna see.
Yeah, we got this secret. You about to see. We about to storm the Capitol with an A."
With a
Yeah. He would have been like, "Oh, it's with an O? That's crazy. That's wild." But yeah, they was scaling up the wall.
Yeah.
Capitol Police was just picking up sticks off the ground.
Oh, yeah,
No.
they pushed him off the thing.
Homeboy, no, there was another one. Homeboy was like wearing a red jacket. He's like
He's climbing
almost to the top. There's a guy at the top trying to grab his arm, and he fell flat on his back onto like a guardrail. Like
Yeah.
he like split
He
himself.
didn't see the steps like 40 meters to his right. Like, hey, just
Yeah,
go
I
up
was
the
like,
steps,
bro,
man.
just walk.
What? They're letting him in. Like, just go up the stairs.
Oh my gosh.
It was fun.
Well, I mean, hey.
Hey,
You wanted to storm this thing. Go ahead.
I have an unpopular opinion about this whole thing.
Go ahead. I'm ready.
we're all ready.
Well, actually, before I jump into that,
Make a note.
you know what? I will jump into it. I don't care that they did this.
Why not?
I don't have a problem with it.
Canceled.
I don't have a problem with it at all. So here's how I think. I think that if you have an issue with the government, which I know somebody already told me, this is not the government. It's only part of the government. It's only the Democrat side. That's a part of the government. Fine. I take it as that. If you have a problem with the government, the precedent has been laid. You can go out. You can protest. You could do all types of debauchery. And it's fine until you get what you want. It didn't happen last year. It happened in like 1776. The Declaration of Independence says if you're pretty much, if you don't like the government, you can overthrow the government and start a new one.
Yeah.
So it made me think about Spider-Man 3.
Show your work.
Oh, God.
Okay. The Sandman,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
He does all these bad things because his son has cancer or something like that, right? His son is dying.
His son was like sick.
So it brings me back to the why, right? How important is the why? We now have had 2 demonstrations in the last like 10 months, but 2, they're similar in certain ways, but the why is what's different. And so is the Sandman right to do bad things to people because his why is heart-wrenching? Yes or no?
Depends.
Depends on what.
If you do like I won't give a blanket statement between the conservatives and the Democrats. You know, like whoever's got a better reason to protest and riot.
Mm-hmm.
But the right to protest and riot should just be across the wall, and you should receive your punishment as is. Like these people, the 7 people arrested, I feel bad. The poor lady got shot in the throat and died. The Air Force veteran, like.
That's crazy.
I don't like that she died. She should have been there, but I don't like that she got shot.
Yeah.
So I feel it should be, not put this lightly, but you shouldn't take away the right or someone else's right to do it just because you don't like
The why. Yeah.
But I don't think that's what people are arguing, though.
What's the
I think they're arguing about how they were treated versus how people were treated July 1st.
What happened July
Or
1st?
July 1st or June 1st? With
the
George
summarize.
Floyd. George
Oh,
Floyd.
the actual George Floyd situation?
No, the protests and the riots.
Okay. So we'll talk about that when we come back.
And we are back.
All right. So we're back onto the show. We're talking about the Capitol getting stormed. So it immediately, people compared it to what happened last year with the riots and the protests and everything that happened last year. And the overall consensus is if black people did this, if they stormed the Capitol, they would have just all got shot. They would have all gotten maced. They would have all blank, 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 and blank. Is that correct? That's the overall consensus.
That's what they're saying.
I think that this narrative, comparing to the George Floyd protest, not comparing it to Martin Luther King and not comparing it to the things that happened 70 years ago. We're talking about the George Floyd protests, June into July into August. I think that's kind of detrimental to our case.
Go ahead.
Okay. And I say that because it is somewhat revisionist. It's not fair to say that if it were black people, they would have just shot them all and killed them all, because that's not what happened with the George Floyd situation. Now, did we see situations where there was a lot of police? Yeah. Did we see situations where people got arrested? Yeah. How many people stormed the Capitol?
About, I said 300 to 500.
I heard it was 1,000.
Okay, I said 1,000.
Okay, let's say it was 1,000. There was 26 million people that marched for George Floyd. Mm-hmm. They said it was 97% peaceful. Mm-hmm. Ended in peace. So that means about 3% of people engaged in activities where things were burned, blah, 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 rioting, all these things. Yeah. All these things that happened. Chaz, Chop, the autonomous zone, all these things that happened. Mm-hmm. About 3%. That's a pretty large percentage, only because of the massive amount of people that were marching for George Floyd. And to say that 90% of it ended peacefully, and yet we have a long list of things, that positive changes that happened in our society, in our culture, because of those protests. I don't want to revise history to say that, well, if it were us, it would have been this, because it negates the positive things that came from those events.
It's revisionist to a certain extent.
Yes, but hold on one second.
Sorry.
And so when those marches happened, there was a lot of people that had their responses. So there was the police station that got burned down. There was the Target that got looted, the Gucci store, all these places that got businesses burned, millions of dollars in damages.
Billions.
And was it billion? Okay.
Billions.
And for me personally, okay, you know why? Because people like Charlemagne said, hey, people over businesses, people over property. That's what he said. Because they have insurance. They can go take care of that. No problem. Okay, if that's what we're doing, I respect it. When Kamala Harris said that we were going to raise money to liberate people from prison, to bail them out of jail because of these incidents, okay, that's fine with me, because the cause is greater than these things that are happening. So, okay, I'm with you. I'm not going to go to the protest myself. But if that's the way we're laying the cake right now, fine. So I'm okay with it. So when she said that, and when Chris Cuomo said, hey, show me where it says that protests have to be peaceful. When he said that, I said, okay, we shall accept it to be the truth. So when everybody went out, 97% went back home completely fine. Then those are 3% that did whatever they felt were right to do.
Right.
Okay? But the outcome of that was mayors, governors out there marching with the people, police officers kneeling with the people, painting of the streets, TV shows getting canceled, police reform, defunding the police in many cities. All these great things happened because the pressure was on. And we couldn't necessarily we couldn't say anything, because we knew that this egregious act happened, which is what is making people do all these things. So I'm okay with it. Fine. If that's what you feel, go for it. Now, it has to be equal on the opposite side. Just because the police did not kill somebody, if you have strong feelings about something and you saw something that happened last year, and very few people were shot, killed, sent to jail, sent to prison, all these things, and then you react in the same form and fashion. To me, the building doesn't matter. It's the Capitol, okay?
Right.
So you storm the Capitol, okay? And then 70 people get arrested. Lady dies, blah, blah, blah.
I think
Okay.
4 people in total died.
Four people in total died. Okay. It's the same thing to me. The reason is the only difference. So now we have to make that choice. Are these acts right? Or are they wrong across the board? Or are we saying, well, the why is why we're saying this? That it's okay. And then in that sense, it's not okay because we don't agree with why you're doing it. That to me, when you revise things that happen, it makes your case in the future weaker. Because if something else happens, you can say, well, you guys never did anything. And they can say, what? Now, wait a second. That's revising what happened. And so now we have less incentive to give you what you want, to give you what it is that you're searching for. And I don't want that to happen. I don't want at all times for the story to be that we were sitting in the grass and they came and they did all this stuff. Like, yes, that does happen, but by ratio.
Fair. It's fair. The other argument is how they were treated immediately. So in Capitol Hill, when they went to storm in, the security guards stepped back and they was like, yo, do your thing.
Mm-hmm.
The police were like, yo, do your thing.
Mm-hmm.
They came in and did their thing.
Yes.
Versus when the protest started in George Floyd and all this other stuff, the National Guard was out there.
Yes.
The people were getting beat the shit out of.
But that's why I was asking if it was planned or not. Because I feel like the protests for George Floyd were planned, and so they implemented these officers and things like that earlier on because it wasn't 300 people or 1,000 people.
1,000 people. It was a lot more.
It was a lot more.
But I'm
and
thinking
it's planned.
that the Capitol Hill thing was planned too, and I think there's
might
more
have been.
planned.
Yeah.
I think there's more planned before the 20th.
But
Oh,
also,
really?
I was going to point out, like, we were talking about this with the LA cops, like, they're standing down on the non-essential shit. So it's like maybe what happened in the summer is now transcending now what happened in the Capitol. Like, hey, I don't want to deal with this anymore. I don't want to be charged with murder or, accused of something that I didn't do. So maybe it was like, hey, hands off. Like, I want to keep my job. I don't want to do this anymore.
Well, to me, it seemed
But
like
if
the
you
Capitol was not equipped enough to handle that, which is fine because it's not something that happens every day.
But it's Capitol Hill. If
Yes.
you know shit's gonna happen every 4 years, I'm gonna count the electoral votes on this day. I mean, it might not be on the same day every year,
This is
obviously.
the first time this has happened, though. Like, kind of or
Correct, but if you're Capitol Hill, I'm expecting the Capitol Hill and the White House and any other important building like that is gonna have security.
Yeah, but this is where Nancy Pelosi works.
Right, still,
Yo,
though.
Trump's building is nice,
Still,
but
though.
Nancy and Mike's, yeah, put Allied Barton there. Yeah, be fine.
Allied Universal there, but
Yeah, I was like,
is that guard over there?
they merged.
yeah, put Allied there. They're good. Give them a stick.
I guess.
Hey, get back.
I guess.
Yo,
But to me,
it
like,
was after Nancy's house.
yeah, fair. But to me, it's like you should have a security there, and you should like enforce what you're doing. Like, I was reading. This is like probably not a really good comparison, but there was a lady in 2013 who was mentally unstable or whatever it was. It was a black lady, and she tried getting
don't say that.
just to the steps. Don't say what.
No, she wasn't black.
Okay, well,
She
she
was one of
was a
them.
mentally unstable lady, and in 2013, I think it was, she just like barely tried to get to the steps, and they beat the crap out of her, and they killed her.
They killed her?
They killed her. She's dead.
Jeez, Lou.
She dead. Versus 1,000 people
Storming it.
storming the place, and they're like, "Yo, do your thing, bro."
They were not equipped. And you know what?
Taking selfies with these guys.
Yeah, so that shouldn't have happened. I know I said this whole poem, and my personal opinion is, if people are storming, I'm storming back. If I'm security there, I'm not picking up a stick I'm be like, yo, let me get your gun. I'm gonna shoot you with it. Yeah. Okay, if I don't have a gun, because I guess he didn't have a gun. The one that I saw, he was picking up the stick off the ground. And then later on in the evening,
security guard.
Yeah, was he a security? He might have been security
or police or whatever.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna just let people storm up into my job like that. That's not what's about to happen. We fighting. I'm not taking pictures with you. And I get from the safety standpoint, if the dude who took the pictures with them is like, yo, there's 50 of them around me. What am I going to do?
That's fair.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't do anything. But on the other side of that, there should be a system of backup where local police got, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
and where was it?
Yeah, it didn't come fast. So they're clearly not equipped for something like that.
It was my understanding they were there all day through the night.
I saw the nighttime. The
you saw that the video that was like, yo, night shift go hard.
Oh yeah.
The night shift,
yeah, they was coming in. It was just throwing people out, looking like the Big Show, just throwing them all over the place. That's what I liked. I was like, why didn't they do this earlier in the day?
That's what I'm saying. It's like, do the same enforcing that you was gonna do for protesters for an inhumane thing that was performed by a police officer.
Yeah,
as you would for people who are trying to storm the Capitol and in your regard, you're right. It's the why behind it.
Yes,
but
that's different.
If they're still both passionate about it, and you come out and force one group more than the other, or if you how do I say this? If you take measures to diffuse the situation for one group, then you do another. That's not equal either.
But what's the point? What's the proof that you have that says that there was more diffusion in one than there was for the other?
There was more police coming out. There was more National Guard. There was more
as security.
But they took more defensive measures in case shit went haywire. Now, granted, you're right. It was a shit ton more people across the entire country.
Yes.
But at the same time, like I said, if you're Capitol Hill, if you're the White House, if you're the fucking Denny's on the corner of Pennsylvania Avenue,
yeah,
I'm expecting at least a good amount of security there.
Yeah, to me, I didn't understand why there wasn't more. The whole planning thing kind of moves the goalpost for me a little bit.
But I swear, if they knew, because I saw a homeboy with a shirt that said,
right.
We will take our whatever back January 6th, 2021.
Right. So for me, clearly the Capitol did not know it was something that was about to happen. The morning shifts came through, was eating their muffins and stuff, and I was like, oh, snap.
Right. But where was the response after that?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
It wasn't. The whole city took a break. But like I said, for my opinion, I don't want people to misread what I'm saying. I am saying that I don't have a problem with the action, because I have a problem with the why, sort of. I feel people can have their own opinion. So me agreeing or disagreeing with your why does not matter that much.
Right.
I don't think that they stormed Capitol Hill with black people in mind.
No,
I think that they were just responding to Trump's election thing.
It was
So the why, to me, I push it over there, because you can feel however you want to feel. The activity for me is now. So the real issue here for me is the response. It's the response.
That's my issue, and I'm assuming that's what 90% of anybody who's on social media is what they're talking about, because it's true. Like I do agree with you in the sense that you're allowed to protest if you don't feel your government is doing what should be done.
Right. If you feel like they're straying away from what you believe in.
Yeah.
I get it. I get it.
I'm not gonna sit here and say conservatives are doing it wrong, because that doesn't make sense.
Right.
But it was the response. It's like, oh, I'm willing to treat these people, let them walk on in, and through the whole day, I'm gonna wait for the night shift to come through, and then I'm gonna start breaking down people and putting them in cuffs.
Yeah. Night shift was doing push-ups, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Meanwhile,
once it's 5:30 and I clock in,
I'm so ready.
Yeah.
The graveyard is gonna be crazy.
Yeah, this is the moment we've all been waiting.
And we know so many people who would have been like,
Oh my
night
gosh,
shift, I'm on it.
Wagner.
Wagner. But
that 35 days he spent in the.
Yo, shut
sorry.
up. Wagner. I'm sorry. We won't talk about
Nah, but yeah, I mean, the response is a little funky, but man, there's so many ways that this can go, right? So here in LA, we did the whole defunding the police thing. Okay, right. And so we had a cry out for the abolishing of the police, right? And I'm now taking the stance of like the what do they call it? The devil's advocate. Okay, this is not how I personally think, but I do have to use this as an analogy for what we're talking about. So people said, "Yo, we gotta remove police. They're bad." Right. So if we're removing police, if we're abolishing police, you can't then turn around and say, "Yo, where's the cops at?" I don't know about that one. And then you can't say, "Yo, the cops got tanks. They got this. They got that. We need to get rid of them. Give them skateboards and social security workers." And then,
in that regard, yeah. If you just say that, and then a mob comes through,
the cops is like, "I ain't got my tank."
If they come through the Chinese Man Theater, the cops are gonna be like,
"Damn, I only got my skateboard.
Like, I only got my skateboard."
and my social worker. Social workers in the back, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, guys,
Yes.
let's talk about the
Let's all have a circle.
Yeah.
Who wants the talking stick?
We're gonna do kumbaya.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what y'all was calling for. Y'all can't turn around and say why the cops ain't messing with them.
Right.
You know.
That's fair. But if you're in I don't know what the situation was in DC. Was they calling for defunding the police and stuff like that?
I mean, I don't know. I see it was just a national thing.
It might have been.
It was just a national thing. I don't know.
Right. Exactly. But like I said, you're in the nation's capital.
Mm-hmm.
If I can barely get into like the lowest of the low buildings because the security is like back the fuck up.
Yeah.
I would expect at least the Capitol.
Yeah, listen, I know a couple
Capitol
of
Hill, I mean the Capitol building.
I know a couple of prudes whose legs is harder to get into.
Yeah.
Than
what the hell security they had at the Capitol building.
The Capitol building is like, yo,
like,
what floor you trying to get to?
Yeah.
Let me hit the elevator.
Let me help
button,
you, bro.
Man. You want to go to 2, 4? I got you on both.
What's gonna happen is you have to get off on 2 and then walk down the hall, get another elevator
That's
up to
right
4.
You're not gonna kill me, right?
I will say I saw a lot of different versions of what different medias were putting out, and a lot of it looked like 3 different days on some of these. Like some,
honestly,
like they're just walking through the Velvet, like, oh hey, you know, kind of like a little mini march through the Capitol lobby, and then another one was like, damn, they're fucking pushing hard. Another one was like kind of mixed.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, any one of these media sites, conservative Democrat or a conservative liberal, could take it and spin it.
Yeah,
I saw that.
Essentially, yes.
So I think, like, maybe cops on different sides of the Capitol building were like, oh, hey, you know, these people aren't so bad. They just want to march. Okay, or to stand down. And
It could have been. It could have been. But on the flip side of that, devil's advocate on that, we got walkie-talkies, bro. You got a cell phone. Hey, how is it on your side? Yo, people are swarming. Oh, I only got 20 over here. Should I let them in? You know what I mean? Like,
that's
communicate.
DC PD versus Capitol Police. Like, I don't know how they operate.
Right, yeah.
I got to think about this too. By the way, here's why I also don't like revising things to cater to a narrative. Not say our narrative, but a narrative. I don't like revising things to cater to a narrative because it then removes the importance of the fight at hand.
Right.
Anybody who revises something that happened so that it fits their narrative down the line, somebody will say, or you leave the door too open for someone to say, well, that's not how it went. And so you're creating problems for the sake of creating problems. And I never want to hear that.
It doesn't push anything
Take it
forward.
I don't want to hear that. I don't want to leave the door open for that down the line.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
it makes
it's
sense.
too easy because the people in power will eventually just say, I'm not doing any more stuff for you. Because no matter what,
You twist it.
yeah, and I don't want to hear that. And we cannot be responsible, the people who are creating things that leave that door open.
Yeah.
You know, because
It's a valid point.
the work is not done yet, and it needs to move forward.
It'll never be done.
Yeah. So leave us with the truth. Leave us with the truth. That's what I'm here for.
That makes sense.
I got somebody I want to call. I don't know if he's gonna pick up.
Who we calling?
We're gonna call my buddy. Well, let me find out if he wants me to say his name on the phone.
Oh, fair enough.
And I can talk into the mic, and you'll hear me.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's see.
He's only gonna hear you for the mic. Sounds good. Thank you, sir.
Hello there.
Hello, this is Kelby from the Blackstalgia podcast. Am I speaking to S?
What up, Kelby?
What's up, man? And can you actually pull that up a little bit? His volume. Are you comfortable speaking on the phone?
Yeah.
Are you comfortable with me saying your name?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is my buddy Sunil.
It's good.
I've known Sunil for about 9 years.
Wow.
I've known Sunil for about 9 years. I might have trained him at a job. I might have trained him. My memory is a little funky, but we worked together and we had a conversation last year. Like, was it 4 or 5 hour conversation? Is that right, Sunil?
Yeah.
Yeah, long conversation about just the way that the world is working. And so, Sunil, we were talking right now on the Blackstalgia podcast, where I'm the only black person here,
Yeah.
about the events that just happened on Capitol Hill. And I wanted to get your opinion. So I just went on a long soliloquy on the importance of making sure that we don't revise history and things that happened during the George Floyd protests, because it could be detrimental for us in the future when we want more things out of our government. And we're also talking about the response of the police in that Capitol Hill situation, and my stance on me not having a huge problem with it happening. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's just another microcosm of just a bigger problem that's going on in America. You know, clearly, you know, for me, I just think that any type of, you know, when you start damaging things, when people's lives are being lost, all that kind of stuff is automatic, like, just like, yo, that's not the right move to make. However, I feel like we've had just a year full of hypocrisy, and that has led to just now being able to do anything, because, you know, you could see a peaceful protest turn into a riot and there be no repercussions, and then another time, you know, cops are going to go all out and, you know, be hardcore on stopping it, and then, you know, you're going to see media be for a certain protest and then not a certain protest. So I think it's just everybody's angry because nobody feels like anything's getting done, and these type of things are going to happen.
Yeah, angry on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let me ask you a question about something you just said about the microcosm. What was it? A microcosm of?
Just an overall year of just hypocrisy.
Okay. So Joe Biden said that this is not America, right? And everybody had a kind of knee-jerk reaction to say, this is America. It's systemically racist. It's this, it's that. And okay, fine. But I actually kind of agree with him. I agree with him to say that it's not America, mainly because I don't think it's fair to label incidents with 1,000 people as the painting of an entire nation. What if, and we did this, but what if after 9/11 we said, well, these people got on a plane, they hit our buildings. This is what all Muslim people, this is what they are. And it's not fair to say that, right? Because it was a group of extremists. So what do you have to say about that? Do you think that most of America is kind of standing behind these people and it's completely okay with them?
No, I mean, I think there's been enough, I guess polls and stuff that have been going on where, both sides, whether you're left or right politically, condemn what happened at Capitol Hill. But I think that this is America. I think this is how Americans react to what is incredible past, 4 years of just a lot of exposure to things that change. Like, I think people aren't looking at the underlying issues of what's going on, and so when he says this isn't America, it's because he's not even acknowledging what the underlying issue is. Everybody still thinks this is about race, and I don't think that it's necessarily just about race. I think it's about people getting fed up with nothing changing. And now there's more information at everybody's fingertips with Twitter being in full fledged and social media altogether. There's 24-hour news that's happening that's inciting playing on people's emotions, inciting all of this anger, so on and so forth. So now this is just frustration boiling over of just a government that isn't solving anybody's problems on either side. And what if I remember Tupac had an interview where he was talking about it more as a racial thing or like a poverty thing and all this kind of stuff. But he's like, at first, you're gonna you see like, and I'm paraphrasing, so I could be getting it wrong, but he was talking about it like if you see on the other side of a door all these people that there's just like this huge feast going on and you're hungry. At first, you're gonna like knock on the door and ask, "Hey, can I come in and get some food?" And when they say no, then you're going to start beating on the door. And if they say no, then you're going to start like breaking down the door if you get to a certain point of desperation. And I think you're just seeing the reactions of desperate people, whether it be the George Floyd protest or what you saw at Capitol Hill. This is how this is elite class not understanding how desperate normal people are. And whether or not everybody is willing to go to the point of burning down buildings and storming the Capitol and all that kind of stuff, I think there is an underlying sentiment of a lot of people that are just desperate and feel like there's nothing else they could do. And there's always going to be a small percentage that is willing to go wild. You saw that in every level. We've seen that in our elementary school, high school. There's always a group of people, but there's that one person that's willing to like, they're upset with the teacher. Everybody's upset with the teacher. There's that one that's willing to like mouth off to the teacher and get suspended. There's always going to be that small percentage that is willing to react in a different way than like normal people, I guess, react.
Let me ask you this question. Is it Trump's fault? Is the storm on Capitol Hill, is it Trump's fault?
I mean, indirectly, I think in the sense, like when you say, is it Trump's fault? It's always put in like a negative light.
Okay.
I think that it's Trump. It's because of Trump in the sense that the last 4 years, he's exposed a lot of these hypocrisies, and he's exposed the media and he's gotten people more engaged in politics and what's going on in the world. And he's used social media in a different way. And he's not been politically correct like other politicians. So he's like challenged everybody's reality. So in doing that, I think it's obviously come to a point where people are reacting in this way. So is it his fault directly? Like he caused this, right? He like wanted this to happen? No, I don't believe that. But to act like he didn't play a role is naive. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's in a negative connotation. I think it's just a repercussion of everything that's happened over the past 4 years.
Chris,
you can only take it. You can only take it so long when you're seeing something and it's the truth, and everybody's telling you you're crazy because you're not seeing it that way. Because you're like, you know what I mean? It's like if somebody told you the color green was no longer the color green, and said you're crazy for thinking that thing that you've known for your whole life as the color green is now something different. Like at a certain point, you're gonna be like, yo, like stop calling me crazy, and maybe even react in a way that justifies their, what they think is crazy. That's how I think that.
Chris, you have any questions for Sunil?
No, I was just gonna say it's a really good way of thinking, of looking at it. I think he has a lot of valid points. It is like everyone on both sides are desperate because they are, they are seeing injustices in their everyday lives that aren't
in the things that they believe in,
and the things that they believe in that they're passionate about that aren't being addressed, that aren't being fixed, I guess, for lack of a better word. They're not being fixed, so they're on both sides are being desperate, are desperate, and they're acting accordingly and passionately. I think that more than anything, conservatives on Capitol Hill are acting out of passion, out of a strong belief. And then the same thing with the liberals, for everything else, they're acting out of passion because it is a strong belief that what they're doing is right.
Sunil, that was all the questions I have for you. Thank you for joining. Do you have any questions for us?
Well, I wanted to make another point, which I think is like the bigger issue.
Yes.
That I think nobody's talking about. So like, I don't know who just spoke, but I think he speaks for like what a lot of people think, that is just like one side or the other. I can guarantee you there was conservative people that were in the protests for George Floyd. And I could guarantee you that there's people that maybe like liberal that were in, some of these protests or Trump rallies and all these kinds of things. The problem is becoming that we're just labeling everybody based off of whatever. And
Party.
At a certain point, if you're on the left and every time you feel like you're doing something, whether it be like Medicare for all, or you feel like you want to, that billionaires are getting too rich and all this kind of stuff, and you get called a communist for feeling that, for making those statements on the left, and you get called communist all the time, communist all the time, communist all the time. And then on the right, maybe you feel, you feel like our borders are not secure enough, that we take care of foreign entities and people that come here illegally more than actual Americans that are struggling day to day. And you're called a Nazi for feeling that way, and a Nazi because your business is getting taken. And like, if no matter what, like you're a reasonable person, but you're being called unreasonable, at a certain point, you don't care what anybody thinks anymore. And so it's just gonna boil over when nothing's being changed. On top of that, you've tried to be nice and be cordial and be like, hey, this is how I feel, and then you're told you shouldn't feel that way. And not only you shouldn't feel that way, you're the most evil thing that we could come up with for feeling that way.
Yeah.
Then you're gonna be like, it doesn't matter what you think anymore. I'm gonna just like go do whatever's in my best interest. And maybe that storm the Capitol or burn down a building. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's why I say I don't have a problem with what happened. Now, if I peel back a layer of that, do I want it to happen? No, I don't. I don't want to see the Capitol get stormed. I also don't want to see people's businesses burned down. I don't want to see autonomous zones. I don't want to see police lined up for just in cases and who knows what's going to happen and all these things. So there is a piece of me that is excited about, there's actually a large piece of me that's excited about a Joe Biden presidency. And I say that because the story is going to change, and what people are digesting daily is going to change. And even if it's for a short moment, though, whatever his plans and policies are, which we're not 100% sure of currently, whatever his plans and policies are, they're kind of going to take a back seat. And the messages that are being spread to the people will have this kind of aloe vera type healing energy where, yeah, the people who are going to be fuming at home are going to be fuming at home because they don't have a rally to go to. You know what I'm saying? So there is a piece of that in me that says like, man, I'm tired of all this stuff. And I'm looking forward to what it was before, the status quo, where people were just like, look, I'm not political. I go to work, I go to school, I make my money, I hang out with my family. And even though politicians were kind of sticking it to us and we didn't know, there was that blissful ignorance that was okay with everybody across the board. And I kind of miss that. I kind of miss
was
that.
nice.
Wait, I said a quote about this.
Does that make sense,
Yeah.
Sunil?
Yeah, but I
Comfortable in
disagree, man.
confidence.
I don't think it's gonna be like that. I don't think anything's calming down. I think Pandora's box is open. I think that I don't know if you caught the speech that Biden made today, but it's more of the same. I think it's gonna be. I think they have an opportunity to make those changes, but based off of what we're seeing, he's not even president yet, and just based off of the speeches that he's making, I think it's going to be more of a revenge lap.
On whose part?
The left. Right now, with they have the all both the Congress and the executive branch for at least the next 2 years. So I think they're going to take advantage of that, and based off of just the narratives that are being spoken, I think that there's going to be this group, these MAGA supporters. They're not going away. They're not going to just not be MAGA supporters anymore. They're either going to get there's going to be some big like civil injustices in the sense that they're going to just round these guys up and make sure that nothing can happen, or these guys are going to stay vigilant and they're just going to be leaderless because they're no longer led by Trump. They're just going to be based off of themselves. Everything that civil rights is fighting for, I feel like is happening in the opposite, and it's snowballing, man. And I don't see it calming down regardless of who's president.
See, what you're not thinking about is the fact that the news and the news cycles play a part in this, and there's going to be a lot of incidents that happen in the first year, and then as the news slowly burns away what MAGA is, they burn away that red hat as they start to say, like, we're not going to pay attention to this anymore because it hurts Biden. If he does not bring that aloe vera to the country to soothe it, then it makes him look bad. And we already know that the news and the media they sway in that direction. So they're not going to keep telling you the Trump's America story, because then it looks like Joe Biden could not do what he promised to do. And so I don't see the news playing up the MAGA supporters doing whatever they're going to do. And eventually, once they stop getting attention, they go home.
Or they get wilder to force people to make them pay attention.
We'll see.
Yep. We shall see, man. Hopefully it doesn't get to that point, but
yeah, we'll see. Thank you so much, sir.
For sure, man.
Catch you. All right. So with all these things happening, another layer. So Twitter. Let me make sure I'm checking everything. Oh, hold up.
Banning Trump.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So Twitter has now banned Trump. And I asked everybody.
But it's for like forever.
Forever.
Oh.
Twitter, Facebook, they banned them forever.
Okay.
Permanently. And then all the other apps kind of follow along. Except for Parler.
Well, Parler's a new thing.
Parler's a new thing, but their thing is we're not a publisher, we're a utility, which is what Twitter says they are, but they're not. Okay, so
Snapchat too?
I think Snapchat did block them. I saw a list of
Trump.
all the things that blocked
You
Trump.
can't be a Disney princess no more?
I can't be no Disney princess. Damn. So this leads to a very interesting conversation. So, yes, Twitter blocks Trump forever. Fine with me. I don't have a problem with it. You know why? Because I've said time and time again, private entities in United States of America are just that. private entities.
Private
They're their
entities.
own nations with their own rules, and they can do whatever they want until you do something that burns outside of their buildings or outside of their whatevers, and then the government has to come and play into it. So, with that being said, Twitter makes the rules on who can be on their app and who cannot be on their app. I don't have a problem with it. You want to take Trump off, which is wild to me because he's the president, and he pretty much became president because he was using social media to attract his people. Okay, fine. Now, does that mean that they remove all bad people? Nope. No, because Twitter has murder, they have communist leaders, they have all types of stuff on there. They have porn, they got
titties,
they got all types of stuff on there.
That's not a bad thing. That's a
Now,
it's bad, but they got it.
they got it. Now, I'm not condemning them for that because, again, it's their app. They can do whatever they want. Now, there's two ways that this goes. People are confused about free speech, and then they're confused about, and let me not say confused. They're utilizing that private entity thing in a way that they didn't want to use a year or two ago. We'll talk about the first one. Free speech. What does that mean? On Twitter, on Facebook, on Snapchat, on all these platforms that don't belong to you, that even those platforms have to adhere to Google, Amazon, and Apple. What does that mean?
The government can't silence you.
You said the government cannot silence you. Okay, got it.
But also, that's exactly what Zuckerberg was talking about. I think last year or a year or two ago.
Yeah, he's in Congress.
I can't take this shit down because of freedom of speech. This is somebody saying this, whether it's good, bad, or the other.
Well, yeah, he was talking about blocking political ads.
Yeah.
You know, and people really were upset about it because a politician could just pay money and run an ad.
And run an ad. And that's all you're going to see for
truth or lies or whatever.
In that regard, it makes sense. Free speech is free speech. Just leave it as it is. But
yeah, okay.
But like you said, the private entities, they can do whatever the hell they want.
They can do whatever they want. So does this limit him? Yeah, it does limit him. You know, but you are under the umbrella of these giant tech companies. So they had that whole 230 reform thing where it was like, if you're going to claim that you are just a platform and you are allowing everybody to post whatever it is that they want, then that's what you are. You can't remove things because it doesn't align with how you feel or how your employees feel. And then there was the opposite side of that where it was, well, publishers can edit whatever goes on their platform. So that's where Parler enters the chat, because it's truly like, yo, we could let gangbangers get on here and like, you know, and then they'll report it to the police if they have to, but they're not going to take it down. And so Twitter is playing in that range right now, in that role where I think they did a smart thing earlier on where they slick lined the pockets of these politicians to make sure that whole 230 reform didn't happen, where now they are playing that role of, we can editorialize the things that you post and we can say we're just a utility provider, right? Because your cell phone company provides you the service even if you get on the phone and say, hey, yo, at 5:30 we're about to go jump this dude. They're not going to stop providing you the service because you did that. They're just a utility provider. They're just providing you the service. Twitter, on the other hand, would say, hey, man, you said we're going to jump this guy at 5:30. You can't do that on our platform. You got to go. That whole 230 reform thing was going to stop that. You either are a publisher or you are a provider, a service provider. So Trump is gone off of all these things, and people are scared of freedom of speech. I get it. To me, the private entity thing, I'm okay with it because I stay consistent about it across the board. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, or whatever, there was a lady who owned that bakery. She said, I will sell a gay couple a cake. I'll sell them a cake, but I won't write on it, have a great marriage or whatever, because it did not align with her personal beliefs. And I said, okay, that's your shop. And I'm pretty sure she gave them instructions on another shop that would actually do the work for them. And then that couple sued. Remember that? Mm-hmm. The couple sued. They said it's not fair. It's discrimination, so on and so forth. For me, I said, well, it's a private entity. She's allowed to provide a service or refuse providing service to anybody. Now, I get it. You can jump into that water and say, well, what if she said that she wasn't going to provide service to black people? Then I don't want to give her my money.
She just lost business.
I shall go somewhere else. Is it discrimination? Sure.
Yeah, but they're going to lose in the long run.
They're going to lose in the long run, right? And that's the ground that we're standing on. So if you ask people that now, the people who are saying, well, Twitter, it's a private entity, they could do whatever they want. Do you mean that across the board?
Got to be consistent.
Also, they can't remain unbiased at all. Like, you have to claim, like, hey, you're whatever, liberal, left leaning. Like, you can't say, oh no, we're unbiased. We let everyone on. Like, no, you can't claim that anymore.
Oh, Twitter?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they clearly have an agenda.
Right.
There was that writer from the New York Times who wrote all these things that said, like, white men are this, white men are that, they're trash, they're the worst, they're blah, blah, blah. And everybody's favorite person to hate, Candace Owens, took that and she replaced the word white with black. And it was taken down. Yeah, she got, blocked and whatever for posting that. And I don't think that's consistency on the act of Twitter. I don't think it's fair, but again, it's their business. Yeah. And we all now know that they have a bias. They slant on one side.
Yeah.
So it's up to y'all now. The people who, it's the same thing. It's people who don't like Jeff Bezos being a millionaire,
don't do that,
or Elon Musk becoming a billionaire. Don't participate in the things that you don't like.
That's the freedom of America.
That's the hypocrisy.
People are killing Kerry Hilson right now.
Uh-oh.
Let's read it. She said, how did we get there? I'll show you. Yeah, Kerry Hilson. So she wrote, this may be funny, but it is a little dangerous too. Take Trump out of it for a moment. A democracy must include freedom of speech. Imagine other leaders or popular figures not being able to voice their opinion if it opposes the majority of world leaders. Our freedom of speech is being taken from us slowly but surely. Censorship. If the leader of the free world, quote unquote, can be removed, imagine that same right of civilians. Imagine believing every time you read false information detected and propaganda, deceptive reports, and flat out lies being the only thing we see. And the immediate reaction was, Kerry Hilson ain't had a good song since Kanye was saying.
Oh boy.
I think she has a nice point, but freedom of speech can't be placed on the heads of Twitter because they don't have to live by the Constitution. They're not the government.
Right.
I get what she's saying, and I do think that the way that we process information is under attack. There are specific people that they will say, yo, you can't put that out there. But I don't have a problem with it because I don't run that company.
It's difficult because now truth more than ever is relative.
What is
being
truth?
Turned relative, exactly.
That's my point about revising history. Every time things shift so that it can fit your narrative, you are destroying your narrative across the board.
Mm-hmm. It's scary, but it's you gotta pick a point. You know what I mean? Are you a private entity?
Mm-hmm.
And you gotta be, like you said, be consistent with it. All private entities are going to have to do whatever the hell they want.
Yeah.
They might not fit into your freedom of speech, but that's okay because they don't have to. But that also means if I'm a private entity and I want to say, just like Sunil said, green is now blue. Mm-hmm. And if you tell me green is green, you're wrong.
No, you don't. You're wrong and you're a Nazi because of it. And you're
not. It's the labeling that I think drives people crazy.
I love what Sunil said. Because that's 100% true, and I've always said it. As soon as you put a thing into a group, there's now another group telling you that group is stupid and wrong.
It's the bad guys.
There's a bad guy and a good guy. As soon as you put a group, there's a bad guy and a good guy.
But that is how marketing works, and even that goes into political marketing. Because remember in the early 2000 movies, you'd walk down the campus, new to the school, you see the goths, you see the nerds, you see the this, you see the that. That is the country now. They've taken people and they've placed them into groups. So I can't tell you how many times I've seen this current situation that's happening is extremely terrifying, especially if you're a Jew, black person of color, or a black or person of color, LGBT, or have brown hair. And it was like, okay. How did you even put the Jewish part in there?
I'm looking at for my name on the Venn diagram.
Sam was like, dang it, this one's not terrifying for me. Like, darn.
I don't get this one.
So the creation of the groups thing is genius because everybody fits in a group. Everybody fits in a group, whether you want to or not.
But more than one, though, not just one group.
Yes, more than one.
But in the case of marketing, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And in the case of marketing, I need you to be a part of this group.
You have to be in a group.
So you'll buy the thing that I'm selling you.
Facts. Whether it's the thing or the story, the narrative, whatever it is, you have to fit in the group so that we can sell it to you. Mm-hmm. But what if somebody was just like, yo, look, what if I was not in these just kind of silly arbitrary groups? Not the like, we're all black. Monolith. That's my group. Mm-hmm. What if it was just like a group of people who believe in certain things? That's why I have an issue, somewhat issue, when we jump into the like white nationalist, white this thing. Because it's not all white people.
It's not.
There's all different types of people in there who are doing the bidding, who are doing the dues. Like there's all different types of people in there. So they have to be called something else. Call them something that is aligned with what they believe.
Yeah. I agree with you 100%. And I know that's not helpful in a podcast setting. I agree with you. Like that's a valid point.
Can I bring in a lighter note? Something I do every time I feel like, problems in the world. I go in the Snapchat setting where you can go see where your friends are and shit. You can see those little blue or red,
if you do
points.
the heat map on Snapchat.
I click on places all across the world. And these people are doing the same goddamn shit no matter where it is. They're doing the same shit I am. People in the Middle East, people in, Upper Russia, like people
sitting at home watching Curb.
They're doing
watching Curb.
I'm binging right now. But they're doing the exact same shit I am doing. Maybe speaking a different language, but same affectation, like same energy, same attitude. So we're all kind of very similar, more similar than we think.
Okay, so you're a globalist.
No, I'm not a globalist. I know we are different. I'm saying our attitudes are usually the same.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we're all human. Humans do like 7 things.
Honestly.
Eat, sleep, fuck.
Go to the movies.
Yeah.
We love movies.
Can't do that no more.
Try to find the right person to go to the movies with.
Mm-hmm. One talking.
Right?
My talk, who knows? Like, do you like talking? Don't like talking?
So, yeah, I think it is pretty wild. I think the whole Capitol thing, for some reason, it didn't really faze me all that much. I know people are calling for civil war. I just think it's civil unrest. A civil war, 2 sides got to be against each other, okay? And I think 95% of the country was just like, yo, this is crazy. What y'all doing?
Yeah.
What y'all doing?
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
If it was civil war, it'd be so
on their way to work.
So
they were
bad.
like, yo, this is wild. For me, I was just like, I don't even live in that state.
He was like, it's not affecting my commute. I'm fine.